represents Finland. There is a wife here. However, this wife
we don't use that
is not going to be Carrie.
No.
So we're going to use dummies. Make sure you make our wives look pretty. We are looking for some bikes.
For bike shopping. Well, you came to the right place.
Okay, I'm stuck.
As long as the bike fits us and is comfortable, I think we could care less what they look like.
That was funny because everybody thought that I was gonna crash.
You did. You did.
You did.
You did.
Things got spicy for the usually prim and proper Liz Johnston as her family and friends staged a police raid she never saw coming. The wedding bells are ringing for the Johnston family, and TLC cameras have been rolling every step of the way. As the first of the Johnston children to tie the knot, Elizabeth Liz Johnston has been the center of attention throughout the current season of 7 Little Johnstons. While much of the season has focused on the logistics of turning the family's Georgia property into a wedding wonderland and the anxiety of groom Brice Bolden, the latest exclusive clip reveals that the bachelorette party took a turn for the theatrical. In a sneak peek of the episode that aired on April 14, 2026, Liz finds herself staring down a police officer in her living room. But this wasn't a raid for noise complaints. It was a setup orchestrated by the women in her life to give the bride-to-be a spicy surprise she didn't know she needed. A low-key party turns high-octane. Leading up to the big moment, the vibe inside the Johnston home was exactly what Liz had asked for, low-key. The bride-to-be had made it explicitly clear to her bridal party that she wasn't interested in the raunchy tropes often associated with bachelorette parties. She had banned certain adult novelties and specifically requested no stripteases. The ladies complied, at least initially. Dressed in matching pajamas, Liz, her mother Amber, her sister Emma, and the rest of the bridal party sat in a circle, laughing and exchanging gifts. The PG nature of the party, however, began to slip as the wrapping paper came off. In the exclusive clip, Liz unwraps a pair of edible underwear gifted to her by her sister, Emma. Later, she holds up a pair of thong underwear emblazoned with a phrase, grazing station, laughing as she tells the cameras, Brice is just gonna get a kick out of these. While Liz thought the edible underwear was the peak of the night's scandal, the rest of the women knew the main event was still waiting outside the front door. As Liz sat on the floor, oblivious and rifling through tissue paper, a sharp knock echoed through the house. The arrest of Elizabeth Johnston. The confusion on Liz's face is immediate. As the camera pans to the door, a tall man in a full police uniform is visible through the glass. The reality star's eyes go wide. Oh my God. Y'all did not, she screams, covering her face with a piece of gift wrap in a mix of shock and embarrassment. For a split second, Liz's mind raced to a horrifying conclusion. I just see a man in a cop uniform and, out of the corner of my eye, it almost looked like Brice, she reveals in a confessional clip. I just saw brown hair and a tall, lanky dude. And so I'm like, oh my God, he would never. Thankfully for her relationship, the man was not her fiancé arriving to crash the party. He was, however, an actor hired by her mother and sister to add a little heat to the evening. As the officer steps inside, he looks directly at the bride. I'm here to arrest Elizabeth, he announces sternly. As the room erupts in laughter and squeals, one of the bridesmaids jokingly asks the cop if Liz had forgotten to pay her parking tickets. The officer shakes his head. No, he replies, stepping closer to the blushing bride. I heard that Elizabeth stole Brice's heart. Is this true? Before Liz can answer, the role play escalates. The officer pulls out a pair of handcuffs and instructs Liz to stand up and put her hands behind her back. As she complies, still covering her face with her free hand, she can't help but notice the lack of realism in the props. Looking down at the cuffs loosely clasped around her wrists, she deadpants. The cuffs don't seem like they're fitting. Her mother, Amber, watches the scene unfold with a mix of amusement and maternal pride. He was attempting to handcuff Liz. Amber laughs in a confessional, clearly delighted that her surprise was landing so well. This spice Liz didn't know she wanted. Of course, a fake arrest is rarely the final act at a bachelorette party. It was merely the setup for the punchline. As soon as the handcuffs clicked into place, the police officer, Drop the tough guy act. The music swelled, and the interrogation turned into a performance. The uniformed man began to dance, grinding to the beat, as the women in the room lost their minds with cheers and hollering. The house, which moments earlier had been filled with the polite laughter of gift opening, was now reverberating with screams as the stripper twirled and tossed his cap onto Liz's head. For Liz, who had explicitly stated she was not into that kind of stuff, the reaction was a complex one. Initially, she looked shyly at the floor, her cheeks flushed bright red. But as the performance continued and her bridesmaids, including her mother, egged her on, she couldn't help but smile. "I'm not into that kind of stuff, but of course somebody decided to surprise me," Liz later told the cameras, a hint of appreciation in her voice despite her previous protests. The masterminds behind the stunt, Amber and Emma, were visibly pleased with themselves. They knew their daughter and sister well enough to know that while she might say no to the idea of a stripper, the reality of a fun, theatrical surprise was a different story. "Liz didn't let us have penises at the party, so we added something spicier," Emma explained in a confessional, referencing the bride's strict no phallic objects rule for the decorations and gifts. A handsome police officer delivering a fake arrest warrant was, apparently, the perfect loophole. The mom factor, Amber's wild side. While the clip focuses heavily on Liz's embarrassment, fans of Little Johnstons are likely to focus on the reaction of the family matriarch, Amber Johnston. Throughout the series' run, Amber has often played the role of the stern disciplinarian, the voice of reason trying to keep her large household running smoothly. However, the bachelorette party clip reveals a much wilder side to Amber. While her daughter squirmed in her seat, Amber was seen cheering, laughing, and thoroughly enjoying the performance of the male entertainer. For a family that has often struggled with letting loose, especially after the departure of Anna Johnston from the household, this moment represents a significant shift in the family dynamic. This wild mom energy has drawn a mixed reaction from the show's fanbase. On one hand, viewers appreciate seeing Amber relax and have fun with her daughters. On the other, some critics have pointed out the irony of Amber orchestrating a sexualized surprise for Liz, given how much pressure the family has been putting on the bride to get the wedding planning perfect. Nevertheless, the arrest was a hit within the room. It provided the jolt of energy the party needed, breaking Liz out of her planner mindset and forcing her to live in the moment for once. The bachelorette party, arrest, is just one piece of a very busy puzzle for the Johnston family this season. As previously reported by TV Season and Spoilers, the lead,